All right. Good evening, everyone. I have John Curatolo. Oh man, I said I wasn't going to mess up your last name, and here I am. I have John on Point Fighter Live for the IMAF post show. How are you doing, John?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good. That's really great to hear. And for everybody watching, please let me know where you're watching from. Love to have all our viewers from around the world. So you went. We're going to talk about both IMAF and Pro Point because you were a competitor in both of those events. So could you tell me a little bit more about your experience at the most recent one, IMAF?
Um, it was actually the best turnout I felt. I felt it was the best they've ever done the tournament. And I've been to it a couple times. It but I really like the way they showcase the fighting. Not to take away from the forms, but I feel like they're a little bit more redundant. I feel like a lot of they ran one ring all night or all day, I should say. And usually the tournament is a lot longer. It usually takes a pretty long time
Mm-hmm.
with multiple rings, and they ran one ring with all the kids from all ages to adults all fighting in one ring. They had all the forms done the day before, and I mean it kind of showcased every single fight. Like I would say one of the hardest things for kids to do is get noticed. Unless you're gonna come out like a Bailey Murphy and you're gonna obviously be really really good. It's really hard to get noticed as a kid, and I feel like it kind of showcased some of the kids that like had really good fights. Everybody kind of got to see everybody fight, and I really liked that. I wasn't even intending to fight that day. I just once a couple of my kids won and were in the night show, I realized I was like, all right, well, I'm going to be here while we fight anyway, so I might as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things I find at NASCAR tournaments. You have people running from ring to ring, and it's so hard to like
Hmm.
catch the really good fights. You miss like a highlight somewhere. So that's really interesting that they decided to keep it all in one ring. Could you tell me a little bit more about how maybe future promoters could like take a page out of that book and also manage timing?
Well, see, when it comes to that, I mean, obviously this year wasn't a normal year. Obviously, that wasn't a normal turnout. I think if it was a regular year, it would almost be near impossible to do that unless you're going to run
Mhm.
it all day and it lasts forever. Um, I think what Jeremy and David did was a good starting point, but to figure it out, it's honestly beyond my means.
Mhm.
I don't even know how they made it run so quickly and efficiently because I think Jeremy and David Sklar and everybody who's doing the Sport Karate USA here in Florida, they do a fantastic job. They have been at least. They really do listen. I've known Jeremy since I was young. I was like 9 years old when I met Jeremy, and I mean, he really does listen. If anybody comes up and has a question or brings up a controversy, he does try to fix it in the league and try to answer it, or he'll answer with a counter question, and it kind of
Mhm.
I think it helps grow. But honestly, for them to anybody to replicate it on a normal year with a normal attendance, I'm not sure how it could be done. I still think it
Mhm.
would need to be in multiple rings, but I think by having two separate days where, hey, we're going to showcase forms here, and then we're going to showcase the fighting here, kind of like they do in Waco. It's a clear difference. I remember the couple times I went to Waco when I was a teenager. I I noticed like there's a whole room for forms, and then there was a whole bunch of rings for fighting, and the floor was, well, not for the Irish Open, but for Waco Worlds, it
Mhm.
was always, the floor was like cleared, and like you could see everything going on. You couldn't have missed the fight, you
Yeah.
know. Um, so I think that's I mean, to figure that out, they're gonna have to play with it a couple times and see. But I don't know if replicating it on a normal basis would
Mhm.
work.
Yeah. So speaking of, being receptive to feedback, and also critical of the sport, I know Jeremy is both a judge and someone who wants to see judging grow and become a little bit more reliable. How was the judging at this event?
I think the judging was fair. I'm not usually one to complain about judging because I ultimately, unless it's blatant and obvious, I ultimately leave it up
Mhm.
to the fighter. Like, if a score or a call got scored because it was close, that's kind of your fault for letting it be that close.
Mhm.
That's the way I've always looked at it. But as far as the scoring and stuff, I mean, it was fair. The judging was fair. They've done a really good job of trying to um, make sure that the refs know the rules, and Jeremy does trainings
Mhm.
with the refs, which I've never seen a lot of leagues do. And he tries to do the best to make sure they have the information so that they can handle the situations without him. I at least that's from what I've noticed. That's why I've always supported it, is because I know he's trying to make sure everything's fair, that no one can go to his tournament and be like, oh, well, that was that, there's terrible calls there.
Mhm.
It's one in a million if it's happening. It's one isolated incident versus, we all just deem that all of Sport Karate USA, they all call bad.
Yeah. So you said that you actually didn't intend on fighting at this tournament, but you sort of on the whim decided to fight, and you won your division. Um,
Yeah.
but Kevin won the overall. What, reflecting on like
Mm-hmm.
that specific fight, what are your takeaways from it?
Well, I mean, it was I fought Kevin countless times. And Kevin, I've never gotten Kevin. He's always beaten me. Um, but I hurt my calf in the beginning, not as an excuse. I know the one exchange where there was the difference in the point. It's because I put my leg down and I couldn't push off. But that's in the
Mhm.
exchange. I think I could have put myself in a little bit of a better position and or taken off a little bit earlier. Looking at that exchange, not put myself where I couldn't have moved because my calf hurt. Um, but I mean, honestly, it was one of my closest matches with him, and I felt like I fought really strongly against him. It just, I got lost it right at that one exchange, and there was no
Mhm.
time to get it back. I ran out of time.
Yeah, it feels like you can kind of replay that whole match where like action for action post tournament. So that makes me wonder, do you watch film? How do you sort of handle losses at the end of a tournament, both losses and wins? Do you watch film, or do you sort of just don't watch film?
Uh, you're the first person ever asked me that question. It depends on it. If I'm really upset about it, um, if I'm disappointed in myself, I have to give myself a little bit of time to like cool down because like I don't I'm very competitive. I don't like to lose. Like it'll drive me insane. Like I have to walk away and go do something by myself for a good while to like kind of cool down and decompress before I can even like address the situation that happened. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
I usually will watch film, and I don't always like watch the film that I won. I always watch the one that I lost. Obviously, try to figure out what exchange I made the wrong move or the pace change. But I sometimes I even just watch just because like I remember a specific part, and I want to kind of like look at it and see how I can replicate that with multiple people. You know, it's that's kind of how I do it. It's part of like my mental preparation too. Like if I know like when I was going to Pro Point, like or no, it wasn't Pro Point. It was my challenge because I hadn't competed in a while, and I was kind of like I was kind of kicking off the dust, so to say. I just go back and I started watching like fights from earlier in the year and the year prior, and kind of seeing like how I fought then, and try to like mentally prepare myself to walking in.
Yeah. And so you said that you've fought Kevin multiple times before, and that's kind of how it is with the top level martial artists and top level fighters. How do you decide, when you get to a tournament, if this is a decision or factor in your head, whether you're going to fight? Because there's 8 weight classes in NASCA, in one or the other, or is it sort of wherever I weigh in that day is where I'm going to fight?
I mean, I'm a super lightweight. That's usually where I try to stay, just because that's where I was comfortable. I fought 1 year and I fought in lightweight, but that was only because I had messed with my weight too much and my body was all out of equilibrium.
Mm-hmm.
But I usually tend to just stay in super lightweight. I walk around at about 143.
Okay.
So if I'm training and going up to a tournament, with very little diet change, I can be 139. I probably wake up at 139. Honestly, I
Mm-hmm.
usually weigh myself in the middle of the day after I have coffee and eat, and then I'm 143.
Mm-hmm.
So.
So how do you prep for tournaments? Both, I mean, you have a school, I'm assuming, to fight people with, and I know pandemic is sort of switches things up. But what's your normal routine? Maybe 2, 3 weeks out.
I mean, I'm constantly training. I do it because I love it. Fighting, I know I fight more than I should as a fighter. If you look at like MMA fighters, they only fight like once, twice a week, maybe, because they can't, their bodies, they're going to go through too much damage. And as point fighters, we don't do that. I've had this talk with a lot of the people I train with. Uh, at one point, I mean, we used to fight each other every day, and we just get together and fight for, warm up and fight for however many hours, and then get ready for the next day and do it all over again. Um, I usually am just training as much as possible. Like I said, I try to fight every day, and I try to keep my body at the best it can be at all the time, so that
Mhm.
anytime I can step in the ring and I can go.
Yeah. And so you've been doing this for quite some time, and with that comes some wisdom/advice. And I know that you're on Team K Talk, which is a major fighting team. What advice do you have for the younger generation when looking for a team and deciding to join the team?
Hmm. I would say if you're looking to the younger generation, at least, you need to make sure that that team is the right step for you, and that you're going to be proud to do it. Um, you need to make sure that it's not just the name you're signing up for. You
Mhm,
got to sign up for, the coaches, the teammates, the where you kind of feel like home. One thing I've loved for all the teams that I've been on, they were all like family.
mhm,
It started. My first team was Full Circle, and I mean that was like my family. I still talk to them. I still go see them. I still train with them. We still talk, and anytime I run into any one of them, whenever our paths cross, I mean it's like no time's ever passed. We're just in the same relationship we've always been in. Um, so I mean, when you're looking for a team, you want to make sure that that team is like it becomes your family. I mean, obviously, you want to consider what they're going to offer you and if it's enough. But at the end of the day, all of that's great and stuff. But like being on a team that has a lot of money and necessarily doesn't even really talk to you or know you as a person, it's not really going to help you
mhm,
as much as being on a team where like you can go and stay at their house for 4 days so you can train with them, or just they're going to call you when a major life event happens and tell you congratulations or just check in on you and make sure you're okay. um, I for example, I went to New Jersey in the beginning of the beginning of this year. And when I was trying to make the plans to do so, I was at Diamonds and I was talking to Jason Borelli, and I was just like telling him I was going to go to New Jersey. And he was like, "Hey, man, that's right outside of Philly. You should come train with me." And we got together, and then it became like a whole thing. And we had
yeah,
a little group of our team just coming to train. That's kind of what a team should be, because this is an
mhm,
individual sport. No one can fight for me. I have to fight for myself. um, having a team's not necessary, but you know, it's meant to be like your family, the people you trust, the people you can rely on.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what other sport, when I think of, the typical soccer, basketball, what sports allow you to have those connections and that family that spans across border and state lines, which is a great, amazing. So my last question is, you also competed in Pro Point, and I was hoping you could talk a little bit more about that because I read your post on Facebook, talking about your experience and how amazing it was. And could you, tell us a little bit more about why?
I mean, Pro Point was amazing. I didn't expect it to be what it was for me. I've never felt the way I've ever felt jumping off of that stage, because I was nervous as could be. It was the first time like I'd ever put that kind of pressure on myself, and like I get nervous all the time before fighting on stage and fighting in other countries and stuff. Like I've been nervous before, but like I was super nervous just like I was then. And then when I second my the fight started, I've never felt that feeling. I was so uh, hungry to fight. Like you know, I the first day in the wild card bracket, like I couldn't sit down when the round was over. Like the whole time
Mhm.
I was fighting, I didn't sit down once. I was up moving around the entire time because like I was just so up. And then it was funny because I was going back to the hotel room with Rusty, and I was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna sit in between rounds this time because like it's 2 rounds. I shouldn't be an idiot about this. And even fighting, you know, knowing I was gonna end up fighting Robbie, and I've had many a great fights with Robbie, and they've exhausted me plenty of times. Uh, at the end of the first round, I looked at him and he like Rusty went to move over so I could sit down. I was like, no, don't even. I'm good. I don't need to sit.
Wow.
I'm on fire right now. And I mean, it just the way that I think it's the level that they brought to us, the way they made it feel for us
Uh-huh.
was part of that. You know, it wasn't like, you know, fighting on a stage is one thing, but like it was centered. Like that light made everything like super focused. You only were here in the ring. And you know, it wasn't a huge audience, but it was very, very just all about what was about to happen. And I think that honestly, I can't wait for the next one, and I can't wait till they'll start doing lightweights again, so I can go do it again. Because I mean, it was the coolest thing. And then the second day, even once they told us all we didn't have to worry about excessive contact, I mean that just opened the floodgates for us. And I think it was the most fun I've ever had. I've never gotten to fight Robbie that hard. We fought plenty of times,
Yeah.
like I said, and we fought hard against each other, but we were never told like you don't have to worry about being told you're hitting too hard or you know you're trying to hurt each other. And I mean, it made for the best fight. You know, it made for
Mhm.
the best fight we've ever had, I should say.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's one of the theme that cuts through both IMAF and Pro Point is the centering of fighters, whether that be physically on, a single mat or, bringing these fighters, flying them down, bringing them a limo. So I think it's really exciting and it's something to look forward to. And I can definitely feel the excitement coming from you for the next one.
And I was just even the whole time I was talking to Josh about like everything everything I loved about it, you know, what I thought could be done. I mean, I really want to see that take off because I have a lot of kids that look up to me that are at my school and that are trying to you know, do this as kind of follow in my footsteps and,
Hmm.
you know, go and compete everywhere. And I didn't have that when I was a kid. Like when I was a kid, even before that, I mean, there weren't junior grants. There weren't opportunities for me as a kid to make money at this. Like they would pay for me to go to these tournaments, and I would just win first place, and that was it.
Hmm.
Um, you know, there was never the opportunity to win headphones or whatever they. I remember Mr. G started that, and I was like, man,
Yeah.
now I'm an adult. This is like this sucks. I could have won that like 1,000 times. But I mean, like it. they're opening opportunities now, and like this is, I think this is one of the biggest ones, because like the only other alternative I could have thought of in my life to ever getting paid to go and fight, and them taking care of me and saying, hey, your only job is to go and fight, so go and fight, would have been to do a full contact match or something like that. And I mean, if they can make pro point, a professional thing and something that people are watching, which I think they would, because it kind of answered all of the problems that anybody's ever had with point fighting. We weren't allowed to get away with just touching, and nobody um, gave us points for like, it kind of looked like it hit, kind of situations. Like if there was a doubt, you didn't get the point, which I thought was awesome, because that's why there was such low scores. But it also made someone like me fight super conservative, because I was like, I don't want to get a warning for something and lose a point, and I don't want to get hit with something stupid that I'm not ready for, just because I'm like
Mhm.
going all in. So like I think it made for the best kind of fights out of your fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much, John, for coming on the show, and congratulations on both of your wins. And I do hope to have you back on the show soon. All right. All right. Have a good night, everyone.